So it's a pretty common structure. I'm going to try to like purposely piss people off here and make them kind of rethink why we do this. So if we make the base assumption, just for easy numbers, that you're going to run 40 miles in week 1, 50 miles in week 2, 60 miles in week 3. And it's just a 2 up, 1 down type thing, right? That's going to equal 150 miles. Or my argument would be just run 50 miles, 50 miles, 50 miles. Now, if you listen to the channel, you know I don't prescribe an exact mileage or really care what the exact mileage is. So it's just for context of this example. I don't like the 2 up or 3 up, 1 down, because what happens most of the time, and you can see this in your cycle already a little bit, you had like vacation. So that changed already, right? So then it's like, well, do I have to readjust now everything to be like, okay, but was that my down week? And then how do I adjust this? Or more importantly, what ends up happening is you feel a little niggle or something goes sideways and you go, okay, but I can't wait because like next week's my down week. And if I don't get my up week, then I haven't maximized this block of up and down. And you end up pushing through things because you're afraid to take the day when you need to take the day, right?
I see.
And I would also fundamentally argue, in my mathematical example of 40, 50, 60, a 60-mile training week for, somebody might be very, very different than a 50-mile week or a 40-mile week. And 60 might be completely overreaching, but it's like, okay, because you're recovering the next week. But I look at the recovery and be like, well, you're essentially just tapering. So you're not even maximizing the workouts you're doing because you're not doing them under fatigue. But then when you get to the taper where you've like built all this fatigue and you've kind of pushed that spring down throughout the build, there's not as much to go up because you haven't actually pushed the spring down. Does that make sense?
Oh, that's very interesting. So, like when they prescribe deload weeks, this mainly came from when I was using the app Runna, and it was prescribing those deload weeks, and it was saying the rationale there was that, oh, you need time to like let your body recover and absorb, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But that's not even really a thing.
So you could make that argument for sure, right? And so I think that comes more so when we're doing more intensity than volume. And for most people, you're going to get more bang for your buck from the volume than you will a bunch more intensity. Like if you look at the OG Runna plans and such, they were like 2, 3 very hard workouts a week, a fast long run, right? And so, yeah, most people actually needed that so they could recover from the intense, super crazy training that they were doing. The other thing that people found following that training model was unsustainable, even within a build, let alone from build to build to build, right? And so when I look at it, I go, I would rather have a consistent volume. Like, there's going to be fluctuations. It's hot, you miss a day, blah, 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 whatever, right? Then purposely try to structure a D week or a deload week that actually isn't relevant to what like family commitments, work commitments, sickness, injury, those kind of things. Like life is going to happen and is going to force you to take a deload. The second, or an additional reason why I don't like them is oftentimes people will push in their like really hard week thinking this is the really hard week and next week's really easy because it's less. So I'm going to push really hard this week. So then you don't even maximize what it is you're supposed to do in that week. And it's not a very fluid way to train. And so if you were to map it out in terms of what that actually looks like you'd be like kind of like up, down, 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 right? Versus like, if you're just kind of like steady across the board, my argument would be you get more stimulus from everything you do versus having those down weeks. And I think for most people, if you're doing the basics right, like your distribution of intensity is spread out properly, you're running your easy runs properly, you actually literally don't need a deload week for like weeks and weeks and weeks. So that would be my argument there. What you can go counterpoint on it or thoughts on it too. Like don't just think
I
think
say
yes because I'm here.
Your description of that psychology accurately describes what happened to me just a couple of days ago when I was doing the intervals. I had that little like foot pain and I was like that's the psychology of like, but next week's deload week, so I want to
can't miss this.
Just bang out another 4 rests. But I mean, luckily, I think I made the right choice of stopping there. But like that thought definitely crossed my mind. So I 100% like that resonates with me 100%.
Right. And so when we do that, we're now essentially hoping that athletes make that decision in that moment, right? And I'm sure if you go back to that moment during those quarters, right, you're like, you were fighting. It was like fighting 2 demons, right? Like, do I do the smart thing and take time off or do I push, right? And so I never want to put an athlete in a position where they're having to try to make a big decision like that like potentially holds the balance of their build, right? So I'd rather give them the information, provide it to them and say, look, I fully trust you to call an audible and have to adjust something as life comes up, pain comes up, niggle comes up, because we've done everything that's so smooth. We don't have to worry about this like week to week flow of being like kind of thing, right? And so it's a little bit harder as an individually coached athlete like yourself, or self-coached athlete rather, I should say, because you don't have somebody to bounce that feedback off of, right? So you've got to get really good at trying to be very objective about the workout. It sounds like you're actually pretty good at that because you just did that the other day, right?
I'm happy to adjust to take out the deload weeks and just kind of still have the same average mileage.
Yeah.